Hello and welcome to episode 356 of Sutton Impact Family Style. I'm Jason.
I'm Bill, and let's start with the autopsy of an NBA weekend, Jay.
You want to go positive first?
Let's go positive.
Okay, let's go positive. You start with the positive.
I loved Sabrina Steph.
Yeah, it's great.
I thought it was really, really good. And I mean, she was very impressive. And I think she scored lots of points for the WNBA with that performance.
Without a doubt.
I could tell that, that was something that was really well received. I could see next year, chapter 2 with Caitlin Clark. And if it's not Steph, it's somebody else. Maybe it's Trae Young or somebody. It's going to be somebody, but that's going to be a big part of it from now on. I love the 3-point shootout, but I always do.
Yeah.
I just think it's just, they threw the story ball in and did some other things, but, we saw really good shooters.
Right.
Trae Young was really good. Kat was really good. Dame was good. I mean, it was just a pleasure to watch.
And as we said, the 3-point shootout, it consistently gets stars and people trying, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Every year. I mean, it's not Matt McClung and, Jonathan Isaac's brother or whoever else is in the slam dunk. These are this is Dame Lillard one against Trae Young and people all trying really hard to win the 3-point contest, which is why it's, fantastic.
Yeah. Well, the game is an aberration. The game has to go away, just like the Pro Bowl had to go away. The NBA's got to figure this out. It's got to go away.
Well, what is not that flag football was not watchable, but what is the NBA's version of flag football? Because there's no contact in the NBA for the most part anyway.
I don't even think the flag football is a good in the NFL thing.
No, that's what I'm saying.
I think the really good skills competition at a horse contest with a lot of players in it, and it runs on multiple days, and you got elimination horse and everything. I think that's would add a big part to it. It'd be a lot of fun. It'd be good for TV and good live.
Yeah. I mean, the only issue with
shot contest.
Yeah, I think
stuff where there's no physical danger, but stadium tour. The stadium tour for golf.
Yeah.
Where you're going to a stadium and playing golf in a stadium. I don't see why you can't. Remember the commercial with Larry Bird and was it Larry Bird, Michael Jordan?
Well, there was Larry Bird and Magic with the McDonald's thing. Yeah. Where they were
shooting crazy shots all over the place.
Yeah.
I think that'd be fun.
I think it would too. I sometimes worry though, because it feels like, and again, these players face a different level of scrutiny with social media and, people in their ear about branding and everything else. But horse, you're still competing. It's not quite the dunk contest, but, if you go get egged in horse,
Yeah, if you get egged in horse, though, it's not like you get egged in a basketball game.
No, it's true. You don't. I mean, some guy could have made 3 just ridiculous, kick the ball from half court and it goes in, we've all played enough horse to know how crazy that could be. But I mean, that would be the only.
And I think horse would be light.
Yeah.
It would, be light. It would be entertaining, and I don't think the players would get that. I think that it'd be cool, and people would try and some of the crazy shots. That could be fun.
Yeah.
I didn't like the skills competition this year at all. I think it just was kind of really.
Yeah, I've tried to get into it over the years, but it's not the most exciting event. Period. Right.
Right.
It's something, and I like that they tried something a few years ago, but it doesn't feel like it's an exciting event. And again, it doesn't feel like you're getting 100% participation and effort from all the contestants in it either. I mean, this year for sure, but in general, you get 1 or 2 guys that are like, I'm going to win this, I'm going fired up, and they're flying around the court, and then some other people that are like, yeah, I'm here. I'm on it.
I just think, you got to figure it out. I mean, it's just not. I'm sure when the ratings come out, they're not going to be very good.
No.
But it does sell out. It does pack the local market. I mean, two things that impressed me the most were both. One was in the Tech Summit on Friday, and at Wemby and Adam Silver. And, it's all staged and everything. Adam Silver was saying, Wemby, what would you like to see? He goes, I would like to see what an NBA game looks like if it was a comic book. And they did this really cool thing where they had it like a comic book.
Yeah.
and I was really impressed with that. I thought that was outstanding. And then I liked the LED court.
You did like the LED court, okay? Because that was
I
sort
did
of.
like the LED court. Yeah, I thought it was cool.
I will say a couple things that I've been listening to some other podcasts recently. I forget who the person was on the Bill Simmons podcast, but he was pointing out that he and a lot of his friends follow the NBA through social media and podcasts, but never watch any games. And that they love listening to stories on all the smoke or hearing trade rumors or that kind of stuff, but they're not actually watching the product.
Mm-hmm.
And they seem to say that that's, amongst young people, that's very common. And you just sort
Oh,
of
sure.
wonder, like, how does that affect, your future? Like, and that's a heavy topic to drop in the middle of nowhere without any discussion beforehand. But I mean, I am that way to some extent, right? I follow the NBA often through, half times of, Shaq, Kenny, and Charles and Ernie talking,
Yeah.
and then, clips on social media and podcasts, but I rarely watch a game.
No, and I rarely watch a game, but when I do watch a game, I usually watch the whole game.
Okay.
Like when I watched Minnesota, Oklahoma City, if there's something compelling for me, like two teams that I like or two teams I'm interested in,
Yeah.
I'll watch that. And I'll watch like Phoenix and Boston. I'll watch the big games that have a compelling matchup. I'll watch those. But on the other hand, I won't watch the Lakers because I don't care.
Yeah.
But it's going to be different. I mean, one story that I'm following right now that I think all of our listeners should follow is this Ballmer's Intuit Dome in LA.
Okay.
And here's a tech guy, and you know what he's saying? I want you to be basketball fans, not tech fans.
So he wants
Because
to.
I'll use tech where it's important, like like he knows you have 12-minute break. You really have 12 minutes at halftime.
Right.
So he wants everybody to be able to go to a concession stand in those 12 minutes and get whatever they want.
Makes sense.
And he's doing it in a way like, when sometimes, Jay, when you were in an arena and we'll say, well, I want this. And then something we want's in one concession stand, and then we got to go find the other one, right?
Right.
And he's having everything in every concession stand.
Okay.
And he's having it, just grab and go.
I mean, overall,
And he's going to have amazing videos, so you won't need your phone.
Right. Wow.
And, he's talking about, I forget the number of urinals and toilets. It's astounding how many bathrooms there are going to be.
So everybody can
because
go the same.
He's designed this whole thing with the idea that if he's home in his living room watching a game, how quick he can go to the bathroom, how quick he gets something to eat. So the whole thing is based upon this, which I think is really interesting.
Is he going to go Oregon, like in New York, Madison Square Garden, and try to go like let you hear the squeak of the cord?
He didn't say anything on that aspect.
Okay.
I just think he's trying to make it an amazing in-person experience that you're going to want to repeat and repeat and repeat. And you're not going to need a phone. You're going to have everything. You're going to have access to everything there without having to rely on your phone or a second screen. That's what's really important to him, which is, like I said, real interesting because he is, Microsoft.
Yeah. No, I think he's on the right track, and I would love if what he is trying to do would come to fruition, right?
I do too. I don't, I'm like, I want to make sure that I get to go see that building when it opens. That's a must thing for me because I want to see this. This is what I talk about all the time. I mean, this fan experience. You can't, I did a presentation when I was at the NBA saying, it's easier for me on my couch. You've got to convince me that it's worthy of my time, my money, my effort, and everything else to leave my couch and come to your building.
Yeah.
And I used to talk, I did this presentation. I walked in with a six-pack, and I had a recliner, and I had a TV, and I had a guy pretend to call me up and offer me tickets. And I said, why would I go? I said, the bathroom's 5 steps away. I can go in my slippers. I'm in my recliner.
Yeah.
Beers, and I said, beer's like $6 a six-pack at my house. And I can have pizza delivered. I can do whatever I want to do. I don't have to do anything.
Right.
You've got to convince me I need to get off my ass and come to your building.
Yeah. And the phone thing has become so much more of like, I watched we'll talk about it later, but I watched two movies this weekend, and I was trying very consciously not to check, to check email or because I mean this, like everybody, I'm
Yeah.
sure you have stuff in your life where it's like you have some business opportunities, you have some family stuff, you have things, and I hate that it's become what it's become for me. Like I get excited when it says, your screen time was down 12% this week. I'm proud of
Yeah.
myself, but
I'm proud of myself. And then next week I'm up
then you're
14%.
back
So
up 14%. And
I'm
again,
trying to figure out what I did differently.
yeah, and again, most of the time is not. I don't know how we move away from that. I guess I like that he's trying to do that, and I admire it, and I think it'd be an amazing. I like what he's trying to do. I wonder how you get that away from
Well, maybe
people.
it becomes this oasis, Jay.
Yeah,
Maybe it's an oasis away from everything else, and maybe that's why it works. That you can do all the other stuff, but this is your escape. This is your one thing to do differently.
I mean that's how he needs to sell it for sure. Because
Yeah,
I think you'd have parents pretty excited to take their kids to games under those circumstances as well.
I think so. I think so too. Hopefully, they can afford it.
Hopefully they can afford. Yeah, that's true. Some of them can probably, few, but a few. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I don't think a lot came out of the All Star weekend outside of that. I mean, I
No,
watched.
like I said, I liked the comic book at the Tech Summit. I liked the court. I loved Steph and Sabrina. I loved the 3-point shootout. I didn't even watch the dunk contest. You want to comment on dunk contest?
It wasn't great. I mean, I think at some point, like we've talked about this over the years too, where it's like the physical limitations of what the human body can do come into play, right?
Yeah.
Where at some point you've seen all the dunks, and just because you dunk over a 7'1" person as opposed to a 6'11" person, like it doesn't change fundamentally what I'm watching, right?
Right.
And again, I think that the guys they're getting to participate are trying much more. They're bringing in, their own. I forget which guy did it, but he had a guy come out in a Dominique Wilkins jersey, go stand by Dominique Wilkins, and then he performed an old school Dominique Wilkins dunk, which, that was my guy growing up. Loved Dominique. It was a cool moment, but it didn't you know, as I think
No, and
somebody
I
on the
saw, McClung dunked over Shaq.
yeah,
Jumped off of Shaq. And it's impressive when you look at how big Shaq is and you look at how big this guy is and you dunk. It's
Yeah.
impressive. But we've seen this same dunk how many years in a row?
exactly, and he doesn't. And again, Shaq was talking about I thought Shaq had some good comments. He basically said that the Dominique dunk he's like 25 years ago that was a 10, and Shaq voice, and then also guys like McClung don't dunk. They jump and they're above the rim and they lay the ball in, but there's no ferocity, right? Even guys like Vince Carter. Like Vince Carter threw it down. Sean
Yep.
Kemp threw it down. Shaq obviously threw it down, and he's like, part of the dunk is the the throwing of the ball through the hoop with a little bit of a little anger, as he said, and I agree with that.
Yeah, I do too. That's a dunk.
Yeah, because if you just go up and you kind of lay it above it and tap the rim, that's technically a dunk. And again, the athleticism is out of this world, especially with a guy like McClung, but it doesn't have the gravitas, I suppose.
Right.
And then the only thing I want to end on with my All-Star Weekend coverage is I want to defend LeBron.
Okay.
Bronny is averaging, I think, 5.9 points, 2 assists, and 3 rebounds right now for a middling USC team.
Right.
And LeBron was quoted as saying, Bronny could be on this team right now helping us win a championship. And obviously people just skewered him. But I think LeBron is a really supportive, good dad. And
Oh, I do too. I do too.
I don't think he should get as much crap for being, a dad, I guess. I don't know. I don't know how else to say it.
Well, we know Bronny's going to. You talk about nepotism all the time. We know Bronny's going to get a shot.
Of course.
I don't know if he's going to get drafted, unless somebody's trying to get LeBron on their team.
Right.
Because he'll be an unrestricted free agent next year, I think, right?
Yeah.
Or he could leave next year.
He can leave next year if he wants to.
Okay.
Yeah.
So somebody could draft Bronny with the idea that they're really getting LeBron.
Right.
So you might see that happen. But, yeah, I agree. I mean, I saw him play. I've seen some highlights. I've seen a couple 10-minute spans of a USC game when they were playing Oregon or UCLA. And he's not all that. I mean,
Yeah.
just like Michael Jordan's kids weren't Michael Jordan, and you can't expect LeBron's kid to be LeBron.
No. And to be fair, he's not I mean, at least from what I've seen, a lot of these quotes are coming from people asking him about his son. And I don't think you can ask a father to be like, "Oh, he's not that good." Like,
Yeah, you're not going to say that.
like what do you expect him to say? Like, do you think when it's like, do you think Bronny
Oh, he
can?
sucks. I wouldn't draft him.
Yeah, like I mean, you're throwing that question at him, and then what is he supposed to say to that? Being like, "You're right, my son kind of sucks.
Yeah.
He probably shouldn't be starting for USC." And then the only other interesting thing was the LeBron to the Warriors rumor.
Yeah, that was kind of interesting, I thought.
And I would like to see, like, I was rooting for the banana boat to happen, a decade ago.
Hmm.
For people who don't realize that was, Chris Paul and Carmelo and LeBron all took a banana boat together, and that's why they became the Banana Boat Boys. But, LeBron and Steph obviously had that big rivalry for a long time. They didn't like each other, and now they seem to have a mutual respect. And you couldn't probably pick somebody better to play next to LeBron than Steph Curry, right?
No, I totally agree with that. I mean, I think he'd make it. I think, it's one of those things, Jason. I think that he would make the Warriors a series playoff contender.
Yeah,
And I think he'd free up a lot of money for the Lakers so they could actually restructure and build something there.
exactly.
So I thought it was a win-win trade if it would have happened.
And if you're LeBron, it doesn't matter where you get your next ring. Like the Michael Jordan people have already decided who's the best player of all time, and you getting a fifth ring is not going to change that. So who cares if you get it playing alongside Steph and Draymond in Golden State? Like if you want to do it and play some great basketball, like I would tune in for that, and it would be fantastic to watch. And
No,
who
absolutely.
cares how you get it? But I just those are my two LeBron things that I thought I'd bring up at the end.
Okay.
LeBron the
Well,
dad and LeBron the warrior.
I told everybody that I was going to go see the Yager retirement ceremony, and I did, and it was the best jersey retirement ceremony I've ever seen. The videos, the clips, the commentary, the presence of the Penguins spending a lot of money bringing back all these players from the 91, 92 championship teams that he played with, putting everybody in a 68 shirt, him going out after the jersey retirement and skating with the team and warming up with them all wearing 68 shirts. I mean, it was first class. It was one of the coolest things I've ever seen.
Yeah. And it feels like everybody in the world that wants to do a jersey ceremony should now watch that ceremony because I watched a lot of the clips.
I think so. I absolutely think so.
Yeah.
And he had like a 20-year NHL career.
Oh, yeah.
And he played for like 8 or 9 teams, but he did play 11 years at the Penguins, and he won the Stanley Cup his first 2 years.
Exactly. Yeah, I mean it was.
But they had clips of him when they first drafted him, take him to the Gap, and he wanted to buy a jean jacket and jeans, and so then they had the in-arena host wearing like the jean jacket and jeans that he had, in that time. It was just so well integrated, so much fun.
Yeah, it sounds like they made that the event. And then it wasn't like an afterthought of the game, right? It wasn't like giving away a bobblehead, which a lot of the jersey ceremonies almost feel
Well,
like.
and they are giving away a bobblehead a couple weeks later.
Yeah, but I mean, it's not like you watch some of the jersey ceremonies and it's like, and let's bring out Bill Sutton, and they give you a clap, and then it's like over,
Okay.
and it just doesn't feel like it's got the.
And the giveaway was a little banner that looked like Yager's jersey banner going up in the rafters.
Yeah, that's.
So that was the giveaway, and every fan got it. So it was good.
Yeah, that sounds
the game
awesome.
I stayed for my usual 2 periods of hockey and left, and the Penguins were winning 1-0. And by the time we get back to the hotel, it was 2-1. They lost.
Yeah.
But that's not what I went for. I went for, I had Jacob, who you and I both really think the world of, and he came over from the Czech Republic to come and see this retirement ceremony because Yager was his idol.
Yeah. No, and
It was
yeah,
kind of cool.
that's amazing. That's awesome. It's very.
And one of my other former students, Luke Mohammed, who works for the Penguins, he took Jacob after the first period and tried to get him in to see Yager, and just couldn't make it happen. But everybody supports the kid's dream. It's kind of really cool. So, I mean, think about it. The guy flies over on Friday and flies back today.
From the Czech Republic, yeah, that's a long drive. Yeah.
It's pretty impressive.
Yeah, that's very impressive.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I was reading about Mike Trout, almost spring training, so I'll talk a little baseball.
Okay.
Mike Trout saying he wants to stay with the Angels, and he has some ideas on how to replace Otani and how to attract some free agents.
Okay.
And at the same time, Rendon who they paid a bazillion, paid a ridiculous amount of money to, says that he's not all that crazy about playing baseball. It's not a priority for him. His family, his religion, his priorities. Baseball is his job. Nobody wants to hear that.
No. Yeah, we're in a weird place where I feel like people, they even if his intention was just to, talk about the importance of family and community and all that sort of stuff, like it didn't come off that way.
No, you know what, Chase? There's just too many ways. There's too many outlets that somebody's going to jump on whatever you say and just blow it up. And just you better watch what you say, otherwise you're going to be roasted on a skewer.
And again,
you got to be careful.
Yeah, and I know people want all the access and they want you to open up and they want you to be yourself. But people are spending their time and their money to watch you excel at a game that they want to believe that you love to your core. So even if that's part of an act, like take it from an industry that I've worked in for 20 years, like, print the legend, if you will, like act like you love what you're doing.
Yes.
Like, and when you're on the court, act like you're trying really hard, even if you're giving a half-ass effort, because it's like, it's needed,
Well, I'll tell you what, to me, if I'm looking at the sports world, there's only two people that can say whatever they want to say.
Barkley?
Charles Barkley and Shaq. That's it.
And they do.
And they do.
And apparently Pat McAfee.
And they're accepted for it.
Yeah.
But LeBron can't.
No.
As big a star as LeBron can't say whatever he wants to say.
No. How much of that do you think is... I don't think Charles Barkley has ever given a blank about what you've said about him. And LeBron has given many, many blanks.
Yeah, I mean, LeBron, Tiger Woods, Michael Jordan always had so much other money at stake that they had to watch what they said. And they learned it at an early age.
Yeah.
But Charles didn't care. Never cared.
No. And I think Shaq does. I mean, Shaq is I think Shaq's a very happy dude for whatever human happiness actually is. But
I would love to see Shaq on part of the Magic.
Yeah, that would be cool.
And so he said he wants to do. He told when he retired his jersey here in Orlando last week, he sent a note to the DeVos family saying, "Whenever y'all are tired of what you have or you want a partner, let me know. I'd like to come back to Orlando and be part of this."
They should
jump. It'd be great. I think it'd be great for the Magic.
Yeah, I was like, they should jump on. They should figure out a way to make that, even if they somehow get to keep whatever it takes to get Shaq is part of that. They should do that.
Yeah, for sure.
Because again, Orlando in Florida, pretty good city, tax free or no state taxes, like, and especially now with Paolo and Franz and the rest of that, it's a pretty nice team they got. You could really build something there.
Yeah, I agree.
I guess before we get to our food and entertainment, our Steeler moment is things aren't looking real good right now.
No, and I'm wanting Mason Rudolph to resign. I don't know if he will. I don't know if he trusts the organization. There does seem to be a divide that the players seem to think Mason is the guy, and people in the front office want Kenny Pickett to have a chance. So I don't know if they want to give him a chance to save their jobs or whatever it is, but you and I have said it for months now. He's not the guy, and he's never going to be that guy.
No. And I forget what the percentage is, and I think this is even a low percentage, but it's almost 70% of first-round pick quarterbacks bust out in their first contract. Like, it's not that big. I mean, it's more often than not, and most of those guys had 10 times the physical talent that Kenny Pickett has.
Yeah. I mean, it's nice he played at Pitt. That was a nice story.
Yeah.
He gave him a shot. Didn't work.
And I'm sure he's a nice person. Like, when you meet him, he's probably fiery, and he's like, this is the guy, but, like, he shows nothing on the field.
Yeah, he's Tyler Heineke on a good day.
On a good day, yeah. And it's like, you could have had Gardner Minshew for nothing.
Yeah, I don't think he's as good as Gardner Minshew.
No.
I really don't.
No.
I really don't. I'd rather have Gardner Minshew than Kenny Pickett. You heard that here.
Exactly. I was like, you could have had guys like Minshew and Heineke and Teddy Two Gloves. Like, all those guys were free. And you spend a first-round pick, and it happens. But again, as I've mentioned to many Steeler fans, like, look what Kyle Shanahan and John Lynch did. They spent a ton of money to get in picks and everything else to get a Trey Lance in. 2 years in, they were like, you know what? Didn't do it right. That's our bad. Moved on. They're in the Super Bowl.
We move on.
Yeah. And yes, getting the Mister Irrelevant in the seventh round to be your starting quarterback and take you to almost two Super Bowls in back-to-back years is incredible, and it's not very likely to happen. But
Hey, it's a great story, but you have to take that story in conjunction with the other story.
yeah, but if you're not
It's the
going to,
same organization. You drafted this guy with the number, what, 2 pick or 3 pick?
yeah,
And then you draft this guy with 278 or 280. And so, you hit on one, you missed on one.
yeah. At the very least, we'd like to see our organization seem to get on the same page because they showed
Yeah.
like the last 7 drafts, and Colbert had a really bad end of his career as the Steelers GM. But this last draft with Omar and the new guy were really good.
Yeah.
Everyone, 6 of the guys contributed. Everyone's still on the team, so let's keep moving in that positive direction.
Okay, and you get some entertainment?
I do. I watched Oppenheimer, all 3 hours. It's really well done. As I was talking to you off air, and I'll just be brief on this, like, it's got a very heavy, it's obviously about the atomic bomb, and it just, I guess, given where we are politically now and in the world, like, you would have liked to have seen we learn a few lessons in history, and it seems like we just haven't, which sort of makes the impact of the movie lesson for me.
Yeah.
But then I watched Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Mutant Mayhem, and I absolutely loved it. It came out in 2023. It's got a soundtrack that's very New York. It's Wu-Tang Clan. It's a lot of like 90s and early 2000s hip hop. It's drawn, but it looks like claymation. And it's a really fun time, I think, if you're, even if you weren't a Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle fan. Like, it's, and it's obviously about them being outsiders and wanting to fit in and all those wonderful things, too. So,
Cool.
yeah.
Well, I want to share the same comment I made about Oppenheimer. At the end of World War One, they said this is the war that went all wars,
Yeah.
and then this was going to be the bomb that ended all wars, and it just didn't work out that way either.
No. It did. No, it did not.
No.
Yeah.
You got any food?
No, I don't think I do, sadly. Sorry. No, no food.
I'm trying to think what I have. Pequod's deep dish pizza in Chicago. I bought it on Gold Belly. It comes looking almost charred, okay?
Okay.
We had pepperoni today. It was just covered with pepperoni. It's really good. You bake it for 30 minutes, and then you cut it in 4s, and then you put it back in the oven for another 15 to crisp it up.
Okay.
It's really good. I mean, the sauce is good. There's not a lot of cheese in it for a deep dish pizza, which is really surprising.
Yeah, because deep dish usually goes real heavy with the cheese, which is one
No,
of their...
it's not heavy at all. But it's still a good pizza.
Yeah. Oddly, I do feel like Chicago pizza is maybe the best of the Gold Belly frozen pizzas. It seems to translate
I
the
agree.
best.
I agree. Except for the DeFaro. And I like DeFaro a lot.
Yeah. And then if you haven't watched it, because he's back on the Daily Show and we all love Jon Stewart, watch his Chicago deep dish pizza rant because it's just absolutely fantastic.
Was that recent or is that an older bit?
It's an older bit, but he sort of re-brought it back up again.
Okay. Yeah, I've got the show taped. I haven't watched it yet. I'm excited to watch it.
This is
I
just
didn't watch Saturday Night Live yet, so I don't know about that one yet either.
Oh, was there a new one?
I think there was a new one Saturday night, yeah.
Oh, okay. I thought they avoided the All-Star now. Well, there you go.
And then, I finished Monsieur Spade, 6 episodes. Loved it. Some people might think it's slow. I think it's meticulous and well told. And then tonight I taped it last night. I'm watching the end of True Detective Season 4, Night Country. And so it's a longer episode tonight. I think it's an hour and 15, an hour and 20 minutes. So we'll see how it all ends up. But I'm looking forward to watching it.
Okay.
But I'm looking forward to being done. It was a little overly, since it was set in a time where it was always dark.
Yeah.
I even think that made it darker than it is.
Yeah. They just haven't been able to capture the magic of the first season again.
No. The interplay between McConaughey and Woody Harrelson was a big part of that first year.
Yeah. And
you haven't had it with any of the characters since.
And I don't think the killer has been as compelling. Like the mystery has been as compelling as it first season either.
Yeah, well, we'll see tonight.
Tartuga. Yeah. Well, I guess moving forward, it'll be more NBA. We do have NFL draft coming up, which is getting exciting.
We have more NBA. We'll have NBA draft. We'll have baseball. Maybe we'll do more entertainment, more food.
Yeah, I think so.
Till we get to the point where we can do other things. But the draft is always fun. We'll be talking about some, as Jason's a draftnik. So as he dives into this, we'll see what else we learn.
Yeah. All right. So until next week.
Take care.